Hey, yo. Let me talk to you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's time for the Other Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts, Tim, Dave, and Jeremy.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And what can we tell you? We are back again, like a bad rash that won't go away. It's the Other Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information around National Wrestling Alliance, the United Wrestling Network, and your various independents around the world. I am joined. My name is Tim. I go by NWA Gold, and I am joined by let me get in the center here. Oop, look at that. I am joined by my friends Jeremy, wrestling with the MMA. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well today. Thank you all for joining.
Great. And the birthday boy himself, Mr. Dave Scooby. How are you enjoying your birthday?
Just year older, day older.
I hear you. Mine's on Monday. Nothing special planned.
I'll know when it kicks in, and then I'll be like, "Damn."
Yeah.
It's fine right now.
Yeah, it's all good. We got lots of people in the chat right now. Willie's here. Already done his Tyrus joke of the day. Who will be the challenger for the Cholesterol Avengers NWA World's Heavyweight Championship? That's something we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, actually. James Bell is here. Good to see you, James. We know Jay's here, lurking about in the shadows, always watching. And we appreciate all you guys being here. And you know, let's talk about Jay first of all, right off the bat, because yesterday, I'm going to throw this up. Jay had an interview in the part of alliance-wrestling.com that he calls the Sessions with Jay Kyle with Danny Limelight. And I hear it went very well. I got to catch up with it myself later tonight or tomorrow. Danny's always a good interview, especially when he and Jay get on the camera together. Mm-hmm. And we're not stopping there. Jay's not stopping there because later tonight, he's got an interview with Vinnie Barry from Wrestleville, and you're seeing an early copy of Vinnie's Pro Wrestling Volume 2. It's got Jazz on the cover. It's got Bobby Eaton. Already I'm sold.
Yeah.
Both of those people are fire. I got my copy of the Volume 1 right here with Harley and Ricky Morton and C.W. Anderson, my buddy up in the back there. So that'll be really interesting. And it's his Wrestleville books are full of stories and and great information and lots of fun to read. What else are we talking about? You know what? I selfishly can do this. We have we're all on the social media, different platforms here and there, and I think I'm almost a couple thousand on Instagram. We just reached 1,000 NWA Gold on Facebook, and that feels like a milestone to me.
Cool.
I know there's guys who are like 5,000 followers out there, and more power to them. But that feels really good. I know, I was looking at some of the more active followers. I know Willie follows me. I looked Willie up on the followers list today, and it was really cool for me. If I can just mark out for a second, the NWA follows me. I was like, ooh. Yeah, when the people you do a show about follow you, that feels pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I like that. Speaking of NWA Gold, I'll talk about this a little bit later, but I am giving away this bad boy, this replica 10 pounds of gold on my Twitter page, which is at NWA Gold _. We are rebranding to take the NWA out I say we, it's just me, but taking the NWA out of my name. And we're still having all NWA focus, of course, but you can go there, and if your selection, when you look at my pinned tweet of the name that you think would be good for the site is selected, the belt's yours. I'll send it to you. So lots of stuff going on in the Alliance Dash Wrestling family, and it's good to see. We just keep growing all the time. But so this week we're going to be talking about NWA USA with our deep dive. We're going to be looking at highlights from Power, which restarted the Champions Series this week, and that's interesting. We're going to talk in just a sec about the Power, the tapings that have been going on this week, and what the direction for Power. We hope it's going to be, or where it's showing us it's going already, and as well as like Cyon and Tyrus, and what is in store, or what we hope is in store around those two guys. Jeremy's going to give us our weekly UWN results in a segment we're now calling Championship Wrestling from Jeremy. I love it. And Dave, of course, anchors the show with his I Respect You, Booker Man fantasy booking. We're going to talk about the hole that might be left behind in the potential reported departure of Colby Corino from the NWA. This is where I'm going to turn it over to you two guys. Bodyslam.net is reporting that Colby's done at the end of this month, that he won't be re-signing the end of his contract with the NWA. I am devastated. He's one of the highlights for me, and I know we're going to talk about that particular hole. But Jeremy, what do you think? What do you think about Colby moving on, and if he's going over to WWE and the Performance Center, maybe NXT? How does that strike you for the NWA, and how does it make you look at the future?
Well, with Colby moving on, I mean, it was inevitable. Whenever he first showed up in the NWA to where he is now, he has grown leaps and bounds. He has established that last bastion of wrestling moniker and gimmick that he's coming out with, and he has. We've said it every time he's had a match that they've been the highlights of the show more times than not, and whether he ends up in WWE, AEW, wherever he goes, he's going to be a great asset, I feel, and it'll just further his growth.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is the WWE, it'll get a lot more eyes on him that he deserves to have, because he is a phenomenal talent and has a long future ahead of him. He's what, 26 or
At
something?
most, something like that.
He's still really young. So, and with Hunter taking over in the WWE, we could see a resurgence of the cruiserweights, and he'd be a perfect fit there.
He really would. And, no nepotism intended with his statement, but it doesn't hurt that his dad's involved.
Exactly.
I think as an NXT producer now, and he was or perhaps is still a trainer at the Performance Center. And Dave, how does it, I know you're going to book this at the end of the show, the hole that's left behind, but I mean, I'm sure we all wish good things to Colby. It's tough to see him go.
Definitely. I mean, he's really, really grown, going from Circle Squared and the George South storyline. I mean, he's just blossomed. I mean, he's the guy you love to hate.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, he plays the part so well. Even when you go up and he's doing signings, he'll be a little crass with you, depending on who's around. If there's kids around, he'll be a little nicer. But he's just a great guy, and I mean, he's still young, and if he's going to the WWE, NXT, wherever he ends up, I'm hoping they give a chance to him, because I mean, he's a very good wrestler. He can talk, he can work, he can get by without actually working and doing underhanded tactics. Mm-hmm. I could see him, if he does go, being, I'm not going to say being like Shawn Michaels, but in the Shawn Michaels role of having somebody like a Diesel standing behind him.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically covering his ass for when his mouth oversteps the bounds. If he goes, he's, I think, 5'10", 5'9". He has good size, but he's not a 6'2", 6'3" guy, all muscled up.
Yeah.
He's a normal-looking guy.
Yeah.
He's a wrestler, so he's in shape, but he's a normal-looking guy.
To your point, my favorite version of the Fixers were when they were standing behind Colby.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And, you know, like his dad wasn't a big guy either. And
no.
Speaking of Steve, one of my favorites of all time, champions or not, just he learned, Colby did, I think, at the knee of the best chicken shit heel of his generation, right?
Oh, definitely.
Steve was amazing at it. And even when his character changed and he started taking on all comers, like Colby has so much of his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, he's really developed in these past few years to his own person, his own, you know, and his ability, like you guys have both said, have really increased as well.
Yeah.
He came in, I thought he was pretty good already in terms of a young talent, and he's really improved. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All great things to Colby Corino, and if it's true that he's gone, boy, we wish him the best, and we, you know, we hope that he does very well in the WWE or wherever he ends up. He'll be missed in the NWA. Someone who is always missed around here and not missed in the NWA because she's present all the time. It's Pollo Del Mar, everyone. Welcome, Pollo. Always great to have you.
Pollo.
Welcome.
And we're going to be talking about the Thrill Billy, and we saw you, of course, captaining the team with Team Brickhouse with Camille this past week. So great to have you here, as always. Willie, of course, says blunt force trauma should be able to terminate the Fixers. Yeah. Well, I think that's speaking to, you know, what the where we're seeing the Fixers in so much in the forefront, and how maybe we're not so much digging. We'd like to see a little bit less and feature some other people. Poy was at the Nashville airport trying to get home right now, so good luck to you. That's not fun, but travel safe. Hey, let's talk about something actually I didn't mention to you guys beforehand. Maybe you guys know. Where's Chris Adonis?
Good question.
Have you guys heard? The last I had heard, he was touring Independence, but I didn't see him at the taping.
I believe I saw a picture of him with Tom Latimer, so he may have been at the tapings.
Okay.
But
when I say I didn't see him at the taping, I wasn't there. I just didn't see him on the screen. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
If Pollo does know, don't tell me, because I want it to be a surprise if he does pop up on screen, because that was a good question.
Pollo has spilled the beans. Adonis was with us. Okay. Didn't see him. So glad he's there.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just brings a certain cool quality and looks always like $1 million. So glad that he's there. I was worried that he was gone. So we'll look forward to more of him. Pollo just adding, Adonis wasn't in New Orleans, but Narlands. but he's still with the NWA.
That's good.
Really glad.
He's someone that I'd like to see go into a storyline with EC3.
Yeah, for sure. And it is not beyond the realm of possibility. Let me rephrase that. Adonis should be one of the top 3 to 4 guys to challenge for the world's heavyweight title in
Yes.
2023. Right?
Yes.
He's got name value. He's got ability. He looks like $1 million. So here's to more Chris Adonis. And if we have questions about the Champion Series structure, I'll see if I can answer it for you. Thank you so much. We're 100% going to get to that.
Yeah.
A little bit later. So hopefully you're still around. We can maybe speed it up or change the order if you're not going to be. But hey, you know what? This is kind of a roundtable discussion. Let's just keep it going here, and
okay.
Let's start talking about Cyon. Cyon, as we know, has got his own team, and he's been defending that title all around the independents. What's next for Cyon? Do you figure in this one, Jeremy? What do you want to see?
I would like to see him go on a tear through the roster, and also have them bring in a couple of big name outsiders, and then basically force the issue of him. There's no way around it. He's set up. He's done. Climb the ladder. He is the number 1 contender for the title, regardless of who's holding it. The work that he's done in the ring since showing up and then getting with Austin, he's improved a lot. His grind on social media is almost unparalleled with anyone else in the NWA roster, with the exception of Pollo and possibly the Pope and Thrillbilly. I think Cyon posts probably about 10 to 15 times a day.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if not more. He's constantly putting over matches that he's doing outside of the NWA. So he is someone that I've become very quickly invested in and would like to see be the number 1 contender going for the title.
Yeah. Pollo says he better know Cyon is grinding to keep up with me. Yeah. There's a great shot if you get to see it, Pollo, in any of the replays maybe you had, where they're showing the profile of Camille as you guys are sitting there, and she's got that stone, brick house, like watching the match in the ring, and you're beside her going, ah! It was amazing. So Willie says there's a rumor that Blake Bulletproof Troop may come to the NWA. And interestingly, Pollo says that, Willie, did you see Blake in our audience? Oh,
yep.
We'll hear more about that. Oh, you did. You did, Dave.
Yes, I did.
Oh, well.
Willie's
been calling for that for months now. So, and apparently saw him there. So, fantastic. That's great. What do you think about what's next for Cyon for you, Dave?
Well, recently, I believe it was Monday, it was 100 days as champion. 221 is the magic number. Yeah. 222, he passes his father, quote unquote, his father. I'd say, bring on any and all comers, build him up. Because, even Tyrus said that, hey, Jordan or Cyon could step up to him at any time.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things of he joined Austin and he joined the group after he was defeated. Well, he's now champion and he's going strong. I'd like to see him step away as soon as he passes the record of his father, have him step away, more or less, I've bettered you, And the ironic thing is, Austin, quote unquote, being his father, used to team with the Masked Superstar back in the early 80s. So
this is a deep cut, Dave. Keep going.
Very deep.
it couldn't be, who knows? I mean, it's storyline, but it could be made into, quote unquote, Jerry Springer storyline.
Is Edie still around?
I don't know if he's still around, but it's one of these things of all you have to do is take a swab, send it in, and you can actually tell who your ancestors are.
All right. I did it. It's fun.
So if they end up doing a storyline of you were or you weren't my father, I decided to do a DNA test, and it comes out that you are not the father. Or however they decide to go with it. But I mean, building him up to beat his father's record as the first national champion for the NWA, which was, I believe, the Georgia.
Right.
Was in Georgia.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure where they go, but I mean, they need to look ahead and just pick some good opponents for him that can build him up as well as keep those opponents almost on the same level, but darn, I missed it by that much.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, look, can I just throw in real quick that if they go with the not your father thing, that we have someone random that just runs out of the audience screaming and crying to the back, like on Maury. Because if that doesn't happen, then they'll lose me.
Yeah. Boyo points out the national title was with Atlanta, with Mid-Atlantic. I was sitting here going, I'm pretty sure he's still around because you see him at signings, Axe and Smash, and I thought, did he pass? And am I going to say something and he's already gone? Willie points out Austin Idol also had a feud with Ric Flair. There's lots of storylines. I know we've talked about maybe the possibility where Austin kind of pulls the rug out from under Cyon before he gets to the 221 or whatever it is. That might be fun. We'll have to see how that progresses. I noted that, on Power this week, it's where is Austin Idol? He's on a special Champion Series mission. So we'll see what happens there. Listen, Willie, Demolition may have started in the WWE as a cheap imitation of the Road Warriors, but you are talking, my friend, about one of the top 10 tag teams of all time. And in the WWE, those guys held the titles a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I resented Demolition for a long time because I was and still am a huge Road Warriors fan.
Mm-hmm.
But they, over their time, they established themselves as their own tag team and definitely are a top 10 of all time, I feel.
Actually, Poyo and Pope were doing their top 5 tag teams of
great episode.
Of all time, and mentions now. Well, I can't deny the beginning, but Demolition to me are a far better tag team in the long run. One of the things that Poyo pointed out on that show is that the Road Warriors never sold, and they, that was part of the deal.
And the Road Warriors never really ventured away from that just brick wall steamroller match either. Demolition had branched out quite a bit, quite quickly too.
Maybe we'll do our own top 5 at some point. I know we all agree, including Pope and Poyo, that the Road Warriors still are number one. They've held everything from
Yeah.
AWA, name the promotion, and they held that title and were that much of an attraction.
Yeah.
But won titles in All Japan, NWA, WWF, IWGP. There's a whole list of it. Well, I'm going to just go down that particular rabbit hole if we keep going. But lots of potential stuff we can do with Cyon. Let's talk about Tyrus. And it's as of Monday, it'll be, I believe, a month since Tyrus won 10 pounds of gold, or as I cringed when he said it. It is kind of cool, the 12 pounds of gold, because his title is bigger. I just went, no, don't start a thing.
I figured the extra 2 pounds was from sauce stains.
Oh, Willie, you've got some competition here for the Tyrus joke of the week. Yeah, man, that's a bigger belt made by Red Leather Belts. It's I have a Reggie Parks one up here. I've never weighed it. I know my replica weighs 8.5 pounds, but I've never weighed that one. I wonder if it is 10 pounds. But anyway, he hasn't defended it, and of course, tapings being what they are, and I'm sure his own schedule with Fox. And I'm not trying to suggest that he maybe should have, but are we? I'll go to Dave first. Do you think Tyrus will be taking bookings outside the NWA, or do you see?
Well, I'm not really sure to defend the 10 pounds of gold or 12 pounds, but I know tomorrow, I believe in Florida. I'm not sure though. He is tagging with Alex Riley,
right?
Who has been a guest on the Three Wise Men.
Right.
Who knows if A-Rai shows up in the NWA down the line, but they're going to be in a tag match. I'm not sure against who, but they are in a tag match tomorrow. And things could work out of, hey, I'm your best friend or I'm your worst enemy. Bringing A-Rai in. He hasn't wrestled in quite a while, but, he has some decent size to him.
Yeah.
That he could either come in as a Tyrus confidant, or who knows. We do know that Marche is no longer in the Tyrus camp, so they're down a person. Who knows? A-Rai could step in and be almost an enforcer type for all of their champions.
I like the idea of him being like a confidant and possibly being creating a wedge between Tyrus and Church's Money and Idol Sports Management.
Mm-hmm. Basically,
that would be interesting too.
They go all the way back to Florida Championship Wrestling, when that was before it was NXT. It was the WWE stomping grounds. It was the developmental. And they've known each other for years. So it's best friend or worst enemy. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see on the line.
We will. I'm going to come back to this comment, but I'm missing some. I just noticed. Back to the tag teams. Road Warrior matches are absolutely one-dimensional. Very few exceptions. 100%.
Yeah.
When I was, I don't know, a young fellow, 13 to 16 or whatever, though, I didn't care.
Yeah. As an 8-year-old kid, I loved seeing just two mohawk-headed guys bulldozing people.
Yeah, and I know,
and the spikes and it
was great. And Mid-Atlantic belts to begin, AWA after, and the AWA 6-man belts, followed by the IWGP, then the NWA World Tag Titles, then two-time WWF Tag Team Champions. Pollo knows her championships and her tag teams. Listen, for Tyrus, however, Jay was saying, and I've talked to Drew about this. Drew Onyx. So if you're new to the program, Drew Onyx is a friend and a former NWA North American champion, a former NWA British Commonwealth champion, a former NWA Canadian Tag Team champion, for that matter. In fact, he told me once he considers himself to be a Triple Crown winner, and would take some umbrage with the Tokyo Monster if that ever came up. That'd be a good fight. Yeah. But I sent him a note and said, hey, we're pitching for Tyrus to come north of the border and come to Montreal, and he sent me a note back. And Drew's like 6'3" and 350, 370, something like that, and said, he laughed and said that'd be great. I'd love to make that happen. Let me know what I need to do to help out. So maybe we'll keep going on that. But Pollo pointed out for Tyrus, the question is whether or not other companies, the other point of view, will want Tyrus to come and wrestle and pay to make that happen. And I think that's a good point too. It's not just hey, is Tyrus going to go and do it? It's, is he going to be, sought out for those occasions, those titles. And I would imagine that there are people out there, companies out there who want to see that. What about in the NWA guys? What do you think he's bound for now? Who do you think he's going to be facing? Media M5's here while you guys think that over. I first seen the Warriors as a tag team in the AWA. Yeah, me too.
That's a really good question, because while we all have our picks of who we feel should be in the top picture for it, the way it's kind of situated right now, it's Clearwater and Cyon that are set up the best to be challengers for it. And Murdoch.
Yeah.
Cardona.
Yeah.
But outside of those guys, really, who else is there that the NWA is built up to say that person should be going for the belt?
Willie's got an answer for you. Tom Latimer, Dak Draper, and Odinson. By all means, Pollo, please point out something which is obvious. I would love to hear it. Dave, to Jeremy's point, I think you got to have Matt Cardona come back for that title shot. They've already kind of mentioned, that wasn't it. He gets a one-on-one. I think you have Murdoch do the return match. I want to see Tyrus put both those guys down and extend this out, like ideally for me to NWA 75.
It builds him and the title up. A lot depends on the Champion Series, I believe. Because until you know who's on whose team, that Cyon has his own team and Tyrus has his own team. So they're together, but they're not. And it's a hodgepodge. You found out who some of the members are, but I don't know if the NWA purposely did it or just didn't think about it. Put together a 60-second blurb for each team. These are the quote-unquote captains / co-captains, and these are the members.
Yeah.
It's not all, it's almost a Survivor Series type thing where it could be all bad guys. It could be one good guy, one bad guy, and a couple tweeners. There's women involved. There's tag teams that could be broken up, or there's tag teams that could be kept together. We don't know. I believe there's 6 members to each team, and if there's 4 teams, then that's 24 people, if they count everybody.
Right.
Who knows if they count the captain or the co-captain, that Tyrus may be the captain of the team, but not be involved in any of the matches.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You'll have to see where maybe it works out that we get a surprise challenge out of the winners. Now, this could go, I mean, last night was the first night. I believe they did at least 6, if not 8 weeks of tapings. And that will take us right up to the live power in Knoxville. So it'll take us through, I believe, the 24th of January.
Right.
So we just have 6, 7, 8 weeks of figuring out who the next challenger is or the next challengers. And they also said at the live power that there's going to be a either historical match or a match that either hasn't been seen before, that they're building up to it. So in my mind, it's going to be a championship match. And I mean, you need to throw those in every once in a while. Don't just always wait for the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, every 3-4 weeks, have a TV title. Have this. Make those titles mean something and not just, they only are defended at pay-per-views, and that's every 8, 9, 10 weeks.
Yeah. I'm just going to go back to earlier Poyo stuff here, but live NWA Power on January 31st in Knoxville, as we know. That'll be an interesting event. I imagine they're going to make the most of that. But bingo, to your point about the Champions Series, I would assume the team which wins this series will probably set up the next round of contenders for all the belts. Every member of the winning team gets a title opportunity.
Okay.
And that is, that sounds bang on to me. And this is a fair comment. It might have been spelled out a little more clearly up front, but it does roll out over time. That's something when we talk about that a little bit, from now. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it's back. It was fun to watch, but boy, I thought this could have been explained a little better about who's with who, and we have some thoughts on that as well. Willie wants Papa Esco to challenge Tyrus. I just want to see him in the NWA, and he's mentioned King Fat Boy that he'd like to come. We'd love to see him. Media says NWA may most likely do other angles not involving idol management, unless Billy sets up an angle to do so. So will probably be others on rankings. Other people said. I'm not sure I get that one. It could be very well people featured next show. Yeah. So champion series and as we go, along, and I think you guys are all, bang on with this one. Listen, let's go into NWA USA Season 5, Episode 3, guys. This was the Revolution Rumble. We learn right off the bat that, this celebrates 11 years of Wildkat Sports. Sammy Kiss from Wildkat is there at the table in Tim Storm's position with Velvet and Joe Galley. The Hawks come out. The crowd clearly loves the Hawks, although they boo Luke. So maybe one of you guys can explain that one to me. Is Luke a heel in his hometown or what?
I really don't know. It surprised me too.
I almost wondered if it was a joke. They were just like, let's boo Luke while he's on camera, But
I do believe that they're heels. Both him and PJ are heels there in Wildkat.
Okay. I bet PJ got the cheers and Luke got the jeers. So Poyo says, I promise there's a great deal of fun stuff we found which could show this season in a slightly different way than we've seen before. Looking
Good.
forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And James Bell asks, is there a February pay-per-view? I think what we know right now is that the January 31st live power broadcast TV tapings in February. So that's what we've got so far. Just before we get into this, Willie, okay, Willie, you love Genocide, Allison Kay, Kenzie Page, and the Brick House. We all do. Medium Fly says, boy, did Billy get us and piss off some with Genocide as an entrant. Yeah, man, I'm all for it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
2 weeks of their own. Many loved when she was thrown out. At least it was done realistically, somewhat. Billy got us. And to that previous comment, in AAA versus NWA in March in Mexico at the World is a Vampire Festival. Listen, we learn about this. It's a rumble. There's 8 men in the ring for 5 minutes. Then every man comes in until I think there's 23 in the ring. The last 2 immediately have a match, and it's nice to see PJ and Luke have fun here in their hometown with their home crowd, who clearly loves what it is that they bring to professional wrestling. The best way I think to do this, because it's just, and then this guy gets tossed out, is I'll try to keep it as straight as possible, and I'll just kind of run through it quick, and then we'll go to you two guys if that's okay.
Yeah.
And everyone out there as well. Hey, Carlton, welcome. Great to have you here. So the starting 8 for the Revolution Rumble were Larry D. Well, we haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
Gustavo.
Sure haven't.
Yeah. Gustavo, David Powers of Wildkat, Rhett Titus, the professional, one of my personal favorites, Brady Pierce, Buku Dow and Jace Fowler, both of Wildkat, and Alex Taylor. So an interesting mix of the 8 guys in there. Again, I'm going to try to go through this quickly. It's not going to make a ton of sense, so I'm just going to plow through. Larry D's the first to go. He's eliminated by Pierce. Danny Flamingo comes in. And guys, stop me at any time you want to. The big crowd pop for Danny Flamingo.
Former general manager, I think they said he was.
Yeah. Very popular down there amongst the crowd. And he eliminates Brady Pierce. Jay Spade's in, another big crowd pop. We know Jay from his earlier time in the NWA, and we'll talk about this, where he won that NWA television title shot.
Yep.
Poyo points out Flamingo is over AF with those fans. Yeah, he really is, which is great. So he's in. Luke Hawx comes in next, and there's a funny bit where he gets mobbed by everybody. Like everyone, just all at once beats on Luke. PJ's in next, thankfully, and he makes the save for his dad. Mims is in, Big Strong Mim, and he eliminates. Oh, I've completely forgotten in the list here. Eddie Vero. I don't even think I mentioned him. Oh, my apologies. He eliminates. You know what? I told you I was going to screw this up. Mims is in. He eliminates Valor, and then Eddie Vero's in, and Alex Taylor eliminates David Powers. So, again, a bit of a mess to try to keep track of here. So please forgive me. Mercurio's in. Anthony Crimson Mayweather is in.
Can I just say he came out with all the enthusiasm of a doorknob?
You are not a fan, Crimweather.
No. And he came out like he had better things to do. Like he had some bean soup at home that he'd rather be eating.
Yeah. I'd like to see him be one of the first guys to go up against Tyrus and help make him look as strong a champion as he can be right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they did mention this, and we'll talk about this because I was very, very happy. Not a doorknob. So, anyway, doesn't
I've
like it.
seen
Didn't remember.
doorknobs that have more character than him. To be honest, it's actually putting down doorknobs.
I'm going to let you two guys fight it out in the chat. Where are we here? So
We're at Crimweather coming out.
Crimweather eliminates Alex Taylor. Odinson's in. Draper was in. Jack Stain's in. He's got a cool entrance, man, with Chris Silvio and security.
Mhm.
Like, this is the attraction of the night. He's here to do some damage. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. So Anthony Mayweather eliminates Taylor. Odinson comes in. Crimweather and you've got me doing it. Crimweather and Dane are eliminated together by everyone, and this made me a bit deflated because it means that it's not over between the two of them yet, and I want it to be over between Mayweather and Dane. How about you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're out together. Sal and the Pals in, Soda Pop's in, Devin Graves in, and then you've got Magic Jake comes out with a walking boot and he's injured, and you've got CJ going, look at the injury. It was great. Yes. So at this point, Genocide comes out on the stage, steps on Jake's boot, and just basically, takes his spot.
Yeah.
And makes her way to the ring. She immediately eliminates Soda Pop and Devin Graves before being eliminated in the moments to follow by Odinson.
And that spine buster that she delivered to Rhett Titus as soon as she got in, that was pretty.
Yeah, it was. And Poyo's talking about Dane and Anthony Mayweather here. Maybe it is over unless they're in the same fight at the same time. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We'll see. I think just both deserve new material.
Yeah.
Keep Mayweather in the back.
Oh my goodness. Draper then eliminates Sal the Pal. Spade eliminates Gustavo after some dancing bits. Spade is eliminated by Danny Flamingo. And they do mention, as Poyo his thing mentioned earlier, his TV title shot. So that makes me happy. It's still on the radar. They haven't just brushed it under the rug.
Good.
Poyo says she agrees. That spine buster, thing of beauty. Anderson worthy.
Chef's kiss on it.
Very good. Where are we here? PJ eliminates Mims with a really cool head scissors maneuver over the top rope. Jack Draper eliminates Luke. PJ eliminates Draper. Mercurio eliminates Dow and Flamingo. PJ eliminates him, and Odinson eliminates PJ in a very strong string of quick eliminations at the end.
Rube Goldberg device of eliminations.
Right. And then we have the final two now. It's Odinson and Rhett Titus. That's an exciting pairing.
Yeah.
Odinson takes it to a winded Titus with a lot of power moves, but Titus targets the left arm of Odinson. A lot of cool and innovative stuff like that key lock thing that he's doing. That was neat. They really take it to each other evenly. The match I thought was decent, guys. And Odinson kicks out of the belly to belly, which I have to say I didn't realize was Titus's finisher.
Yeah.
He comes off the top rope at one point, and Odinson hits that uppercut. He hits the Asgardian pounce. We're all made to believe that it's over. It makes sense for Odinson, to get this particular rub. And he decides to pick Rhett Titus up, makes kind of an airplane spin motion like he's going to do one last thing. And as he's spinning around, Titus slides off the shoulders, rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Rhett Titus, the professional, wins the Revolution Rumble. I was happy with this Rumble. I haven't seen one in a while. Jeremy, what did you think of it overall?
Overall, it was a fun match. I hadn't seen a Revolution Rumble before. The 23-man concept was nice. I liked how they kept a fresh man coming in and sending one out. It kept a good even pace on the eliminations. It didn't, the 1 minute in between guys coming out helped it feel like it was going just as fast as it actually was. I wasn't ready for it to be over whenever it was finally over. I kind of wished it had gone a little bit longer so that, that it was a good match. The last two with Titus and Odinson, I love watching Rhett Titus wrestle. Odinson, I feel this season, I think we'll probably see him grow more into a singles competitor. Fingers crossed. Anyways, he's somebody that has a lot of upside as well as Draper and Rhett Titus. So that's somebody that I'd like to see, get a little bit more spotlight and see that character grow some more.
Yeah, me too. I've never heard Rhett Titus on the mic. I know Jaden from the OG Alliance guys has worked with him and Dr. Zirconium at Dog in the past and just can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah.
He's so much fun to watch in the ring.
Yeah.
Dave, highlights of this for you or lowlights if it wasn't your thing. How did you feel?
Well, I really can't say highlights or lowlights. Across the board, I thought it was done very well. That they highlighted enough of the local talent. They gave the NWA talent some good looks. They kept the story going, which I wish they would finish it, of Crimweather and Dane. But like you said, if they bring Mayweather in to challenge for, he's a former champion. So why not build him up to go after Tyrus and have Dane interfere and he loses again?
Yeah.
It keeps the story in the background somewhat, but it helps build the title for Tyrus. But back to the Rumble, the stories that they told, you had a couple tag teams in there that worked together, but then if need be, they would take each other out. But being that, Rhett Titus, him being one of the last two with Odinson lost the match, but I think it bumped him up, being that he survived and was in the finals. Now, Rhett Titus is maybe just over 225, 230, something like that. I don't think he's that as heavy as Odinson, who is, he's just built. He's a male brick house. He's just at least 275, 280. But it shows the different styles of power doesn't always win.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That, Rhett was in there from the get-go 30-plus minutes.
Yep.
He wasn't wrestling all the time. You had some downtime, but it's not more than 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes to catch your breath. But I thought overall it was a good showing. And, Rhett Titus can either move up and go after the TV or the national, or he can move down and go after the junior.
Yeah. By the
But
way, Jay corrects me. It wasn't the TV. It was the junior. As soon as I wrote it, I went, "Am I right?" Jay's right.
I mean, Rhett is one of my favorite wrestlers
Yeah.
going back to his ROH days. And I used to see him up here in Baltimore all the time. He's just so good, whether you put him in tag or he's by himself. He can work with a veteran. He himself is a veteran, but I'd like to see him work more with the undercard or newer, more unexperienced wrestlers that he can lead them through a match and make both himself and his opponent look good.
Yeah. It was fun. And for me, I enjoyed it because it's been a while since I've seen a Rumble.
Yeah.
And nobody just laid around doing nothing, or at least if they did, I didn't notice because there was good action going on in front of them. It had a couple of pretty good spots. I liked everyone attacking Luke and trying to toss him out. Mercurio getting punched in the face was a bit campy over and over by everybody in that one spot, but amusing.
Yeah.
Draper and Titus got into it, which you get to see the potential there. I like Dane's entrance with Silvio and the security. There was a big man exchange between Mims and Devin Graves.
Yeah.
Jenna's entrance was great, and her participant, I loved it as well. And the fact that remember Mercurio when he flipped, I think it was Dow into Danny Flamingo. It looked like the foot caught him right in the top of the head. Everyone was fine.
Oh man.
Yep.
Wow. But the fast eliminations at the end and the winner, man, I enjoyed the winner. I say, we're gonna be seeing more from Rhett Titus. So I mean, it was a short NWA USA, but it was fun.
Yeah.
See if we're seeing anything in the shot here. Jay confirms. Yeah, Jay Spade had a shot of the junior heavyweight title. My bad. And Carlton, I wanted to know if the NWA is going to work with Wildkat more often. I think that could be a nice size territory. I don't know. Maybe Poyo in the chat has some knowledge about that. They seem to be working over the last couple of years with other independents, and with, of course, the Hawks area being featured prominently in the NWA. That's a great spot. So yeah, that's it for NWA USA. We will touch on Power from season 11, episode 4, guys. The Champion Series is back. There's an explanation from Kyle Davis at the top of this show. Poyo's like, I don't know. Hopefully. About how the points are made. Like, you're welcome to tune into Power and try to figure it out, what an extreme DQ is over a regular DQ and how that's worth 3 points instead of 1. I just went, yeah, okay. Move on to the actual thing. To what we were all saying at the beginning of the show, it was very confusing for many of us to figure out whose team was on, or who was on whose team. We kind of learned slowly, but all of the talent is there at ringside. It looked like everyone was really energized and having a great time, and I think that brings so much to the environment. That's really helpful. But I would have liked to have seen, and we kind of talk in the Discord or offline and stuff. Would have liked to seen, I wrote draft in the Discord, but I understand that that's a WWE thing, that they've done a long time for SmackDown and Raw. That's maybe overplayed. But I would have liked to have seen, hey, it's Kyle Davis. This is the Champion Series. This is how you get points. Here are the 4 teams. or however many teams. Here's Team Brick House, and then they show you everybody's face, and here's Team A, B, C, D, and how they were selected. I would even love to see an episode that was just half of it, the selection of the teams, because there's so much pageantry, for lack of a better word, that could be had there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just random for the next one, but it's like,
Yeah.
you have Tyrus and G's, like Team Tyrus selects, EC3. And like, ooh, everyone kind of looks around and you get to see EC3. What do you guys think about? Were you confused, or would you like to have had it spelled out more?
I would have liked for it to have been a little more laid out. But this kind of falls in line with how the NWA has done a lot of these as well, though. They kind of explain it as they go, which to me gives it that kind of we're making this up as we go along type of feel.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I would have liked to have seen like a draft type situation, to where Billy comes out or someone comes out, Pat Kenny comes out, someone, and says, okay, these are the team captains, and then they pan out to the audience around the ring, and it's the wrestlers, and they go, we're going to roll a dice or pick a number 1 through 10, something for your first selection, and then we'll go from there.
Or to that point, I'm sorry to keep going.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, or to that point, you could have Billy going, here's the teams, and Team Tyrus is this. And have people going, why am I with Tyrus? And have Billy, because he's no nonsense, go, I don't care, get over there.
I like that even better.
Dave, was it, as the team's points out, are Brick House, Team Gold, okay, Team Rock and Roll, Team Rebellion, Team Pretty, Team Tyrus, Team Fixer, Team Great. So we haven't been introduced to them all yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're just saying it would have been nice to have that information up front. How did you feel, Dave? Or did you have a similar reaction or different?
It was, I'm like, okay, well, maybe they'll fix it from what they did last time. They partially did in explaining the point system. But it could have easily been said, hey, we have 8 teams. These are your captains and co-captains of these teams. The teams over the next 6 to 8 weeks, you'll get to learn these teams, who's on these teams. And right now we're starting off with the first 4 of the 8 teams. Team so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. You bring the captains out.
Right.
Then you bring right out of the audience, which all the wrestlers were the audience, bring them up into the ring to highlight who the team is. It may be that they weren't sure who was available.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't learn to this point. It's like Cyon has his own team until Bully Ray's facing Odinson. It comes up in conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's almost the teams are almost strange bedfellows where it's not all good guys, good girls, bad guys, tweeners. They could split up a tag team. However they decide to do it, just give us a basis of what the actual rules are. The point system, I like that they explain that a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have liked to have at least have them do some highlights of, hey, here's our first 4 captains, boom, 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 with their co-captains, and name them. You'll learn who the team members are as we go throughout the next couple weeks on Power and USA.
Right.
So, I mean, you're talking you have a good 10, 12, maybe 14 episodes to get through before there's a live show and this either comes to an end or there being 8 teams. This could go until the actual AAA pay-per-view in March.
It really could. And I think it's very cool that, the 8 team captains or the 8 teams are all champions leading this stuff, right? I think that's very important to feature the champions like they have. So we'll just touch on it as we do. Odinson fights Billy Ray. This comes to a draw. It is it's a power match. I did notice that the question mark 2 guys is in the audience.
Yep.
We are followed by May with Tyrus and Black G's, where he makes the comment about the 12 pounds of gold. Please never say that again. There is a match that follows between Latimer, Tom Latimer, who's on Team Brickhouse, and EC3, who's on Tyrus, that has some really cool, for me, mental, bit of a screw job, but which I did not understand. And I don't know if I just missed it or what, because EC3 is disqualified, giving the Tom's team a point, but infuriates Tom enough that as they continue to battle, which I just thought, they were beating each other up after the match. I didn't realize for like probably 2 minutes, the match is on again. But he's already lost by disqualification. And now Tom disqualifies with the extreme DQ, and EC3 has gotten 3 points for his team entire. What did I miss here?
Again, another great question from you, because I was confused as well. I guess that's what they mean by the extreme DQ and why it's in there now.
If you're DQ'd once, you keep going. It's not like a point is you're DQ'd, and then we continue the match to a new conclusion.
Yeah,
is that how you saw it, Dave? Or
yeah, it could have been explained a little better in that a disqualification will cost you points, but it does not end the match.
Yeah, because I didn't get that, and I was just
that it's a no DQ match that has disqualifications that only stop the match.
Right.
It doesn't stop the match completely. That there has to be a winner, a loser, or a total disqualification with a ringing of the bell.
It would be great. Something else that would be helpful too, along these same lines, like with the rules being clear up front, the teams being clear, is having like sports channels do a score at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
Here's your total points, because I could honestly not be bothered to keep score.
Yeah.
Poyo's Yell just bitched about the way it was explained at the beginning, and it literally says that. Literally says what? I'm not sure what we're talking about, but clearly I've missed something in watching the show. I think we're just asking for a clearer explanation, and if I didn't see it, I mean that's on me. We get the Champion Series 4-way elimination matchup of alternates who don't have a team. That's Rolando Freeman versus Anthony Andrews, Jeremiah Plunkett, and Sal the Pal. It was a comedy match featuring Rolando, and its elimination. Andrews is out first, and Rolando pins Sal during a figure 4, I think. And then, anyway, Rolando gets to pick his team as the winner of this match. He pinned Plunkett at the end. I'm going to move past this one because we don't talk about power too much. We leave that tomorrow night. Disqualification stops the match momentarily, but an extreme disqualification stops the match. Okay.
Okay.
So that's clear.
So if I low blow you, it just pauses it for a second. If I low blow you 3 more times, 4 more times after that, then the match is over with. And okay.
For me, that's silly. But anyway, who am I? It's not my my champion series to do. So yeah, I mean, Rolando gets to pick his team. We get May with the Fixers. They have Nerf guns now. Then we get PJ Hawks and Judias from Team Great versus Damage and Rush Freeman from Team Fixers. Judias pins Freeman in this match. I'll pause here. I didn't hate this actually as a match, and I'm going to say this probably for the first time. I thought Judias looked great. Look, he looks like maybe he's trimmed up or he's got he's on W or something like that.
Something.
W being the sponsored sports drink of alliance-wrestling.com and not a reference.
W.
Yeah. Poyo had said it's like a penalty in football or something like that. Okay. So I thought he looked pretty good, but Judias pins Freeman in this matchup to give them points. Mays with Scion. He says Idol's on a mission somewhere. Where's May with Camille? She's not happy. Her team's going to win the right way and not how like EC3 did. And then in the main event, there was Kratos for Team Brickhouse versus Silas Mason for Team Tyrus. By the way, the first thing I wrote down, Kratos' slaps. Oh,
good Lord, man.
As I said to Jay, like, hey, but listen, for slaps like this, anyone can take one. Can you take two? Not this guy. No, thank you.
I don't think I could take one.
Yeah, wow. Listen, anyone can take one. Literally, but it might be the last one for most of them.
I wouldn't. I don't think I'd be standing after that first one.
But this is a big, beefy boy fight right down the middle. And just the way like Kratos has been, featured in the last few weeks, I thought that this might go his way. But hey, we are all unabashed Thrillbilly and Poyo fans. I was torn emotionally.
Bad.
Yeah, after the Thrill ride, it's the Thrillbilly with a 1-2-3 over Kratos and points for Team Tyrus. It was a pretty good fight. And so over to you two. Jeremy, your highlights from Power and the Champion Series, lots to choose from.
Mine was the Thrillbilly and Kratos match. A big fan of Kratos. I really like Kratos, but Thrillbilly is definitely the future of big men in the NWA, and I was glad to see him get this win. It was awkward being as he's on a separate team than Puyo. I'm interested to see if that develops into anything storyline wise down the road. But that was my highlight, was that match. I really enjoyed it. Two big beefy men just beefing it up in the ring and beating the hell out of each other.
That Camille was a screeching at me for cheering for my man when Kratos is on our team. That's hilarious. I hope you turned to her and said, "How very dare you, madam?" That's one of my favorite Poyo lines.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, how about you, Dave? What was your highlight from this show or highlights?
I did like Jeremy said, the match with Kratos and Silas. I do like overall that when they're having these matches, they're having, I'm not going to say a rookie and a veteran, but they're having a more experienced talent work with a newer talent. They may not be new in the business, but they're new to the NWA.
Right.
I mean, like Bully Ray, a great veteran, have him working with Odinson, actually had people cheering for Odinson. Just because, I mean, Bully is just that. He's a bully.
Yep.
Right.
He's by himself, but he's on a team now, so he has to work for the benefit of the team.
Right.
But overall on this power, I liked the tag match just because you had strange bedfellows. You had PJ and Judias. They went for the shake after. PJ's like, hey, shake my hand. Oh, okay, guess not. We're on the same team, but we're not quite there yet. Good job, though.
Yeah.
But I did like that they had a mixture of matches, that they had a couple singles, they had the qualifier match, and then they had a tag team that was not a tag team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's showing how they can work together for the benefit of their team and not just for themselves.
Judias and PJ, to your point, fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost like Diesel and 1-2-3 Kid,
Yep.
Yeah.
Which
PJ's
is
so good about that. He's what, 6'2", 6'1", 6'2"?
is
He
he?
just doesn't. He's not bulked up yet, but the potential is definitely there for him to easily probably pack on another 20, 30 pounds. And with his in-ring ability, he could easily be in that main event title picture, I feel.
It's so funny too because even he's not that big, but he's such an amazing all-arounder.
Yes.
He's agile. He eliminated Mims with that head scissors over the top. He's obviously a scientific wrestler at the core, but they have depicted him as just being a power guy too, right? With those suplexes picking up some big dudes.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's he's really amazing, and part of his charm is just he is, if no pun intended, a babyface.
White meat, just diabetes inducing sugary sweet baby face.
That's right. He and Kerry Morton as for babyface of the year. Take your pick. So yeah, it was fun. It's different, and to all the possibilities that can exist, it's an exciting start to Power, and the new season. So we'll be seeing some new stuff down the road. Let's move on to Championship Wrestling from Jeremy, as we now call it. We got to get a video package for you to start this.
I'm working on something there.
Are you? At the
maybe.
UWN. Good. The UWN Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and Memphis Wrestling results for the week. Over to you, sir.
This week I am painting myself into a corner because I am going to just give you the results of the matches and tune into my Wrestling with the MMA YouTube channel on Friday. I will tweet the time that I will post it, but I am going to...
Oh, you're frozen. Oh, no. Is he frozen for you, Dave? Uh-oh. Don't know if you can hear us, Jeremy. Hey, guys in the chat, let us know if Jeremy's frozen for you as well. I think you're
he's frozen.
Yeah, okay, great. We'll give him a sec. PJ is adorable. He is. He's the kind of kid you just look at it and go, that's the future of this business. And it's so cool that his dad is, still in such an amazing shape and, maintaining that into, what I assume are his 40s at this point. I don't know how old Luke is. But it's so nice that they can tag team together because it's such a neat kitsch, a neat hook for them together. Poyo says, I need y'all to tweet CW Memphis and say y'all want me there. I've been chattering with them. No problem. We will do that. And 100%. Damian Cole. No, I don't know what we're knowing about, but is it Jeremy? It's probably Jeremy just collapsing there. But we'll come back to Jeremy. I'm sure he'll be back in a moment. He's not in the green room right now behind the scenes. Dave, let's go over to you for a sec. Hopefully this isn't too loud. It's only 5 seconds long. That's such a cool little video.
Yep.
Hey, listen, let's move into the fantasy booking segment we have with Dave here, our resident expert, and booking the hole left behind by a departing Colby Corino. If the news is true, and he's going to move on after the end of the month, how do you see booking that hole that he leaves behind? A rather sizable hole, I think.
Well, I mean, you have other wrestlers that you can move up, but I'm not sure that they can fill the actual hole. So I believe that's why Homicide has still been involved in the storyline with Kerry and Colby. That if Colby knew that there's a chance that he's leaving, he'll do, I'm not going to say he'll do the right thing on the way out, but he'll do what's best for him and the NWA.
Right.
That you can go back. I mean, Homicide has turned. He is the heel, whether he has the belt or not. But then you have other people that can and will challenge for the junior heavyweight. Jay Spade. Hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Jay Spade is brought in for that live power taping or power episode at the end of January. That if they do a couple belts on that show, being that if Kerry is still the junior heavyweight champion, he's already stated on Twitter that he will be unable to be at the AAA NWA event. He has a cheerleading event that he can't make it. So have him defend the belt at the live power taping.
Yeah.
You have several people that can step in. One being, PJ, if he's not wrestling with his dad, doing tags. They've had their run going after the tag belts. Maybe it's time to put PJ ahead of his father just a bit to do some of the junior heavyweight.
Right.
So, you have several people. Homicide, I think, is being kept around to take over the Colby position.
Mm-hmm.
But you could easily have Kerry do a switch and not be the babyface. Morton's more or less 90% of his career, Ricky was a babyface. But they also did, what was it, the Blue Bloods with Regal, where he was Richard Morton, and he wasn't a redneck anymore. He was proper. And
oh yeah, that was Bob Eaton, wasn't it? But they did do the York Foundation.
Oh, it was York Foundation. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where he wasn't totally bad, but he wasn't the rock and roll Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you just need to look and see. I mean, there's several people that you can plug in, depending on who's on all these different teams. They were pushing gags. I'd like to see him lose the mask and just come back as the wrestler and go after. He'd be a great junior heavyweight.
You would.
You have several people that can go after it, and seeing that Rolando, he won. Whatever team he's going to be on, he could possibly, if his team wins, he could go after the junior heavyweight.
I'd enjoy that, honestly.
Yeah, I'd watch the shit out of that, guys. I need him to.
It's both he and Kearney can go,
Yeah.
and it's someone more his size or his speed.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a wait and see what happens and who they decide to push coming out of the championship series. Whoever the winner is, you'll see. Who knows?
And with Rolando's wins over Cardona, that makes him a legitimate threat, a bona fide legitimate threat for that title. So I'm here for that. I'd love to see that. I really would. Never thought I'd say that.
It's funny because what's wrong with the Spectaculars for me, other than that they just need some seasoning and some time together, is that Rolando sucks all the oxygen out of the room for them, for me.
Yeah.
They look like two guys backing up Rolando.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a really big hole to fill, Dave. Colby,
yes.
Like
very much.
More than I think we probably realize, right? Because of how prevalent he's been on Power and just as a featured performer in the NWA. Who do you think who do you think is going to be that person in the end? Like if you were making a pick right now to go back and face Kerry Morton for that title and chase it down, who steps into that spot for you? Jay Spade? Is that the story?
I'd like to see it. I mean, from what I've seen, Jay Spade is more of a face, but he isn't afraid to do some underhand tactics, if need be, double teaming, being that he is also a Wildkat tag champion. Who knows if he shows up and his tag partner shows up with a manager's license, he could be the equalizer.
I got no time for the manager's license bullshit anymore.
I know that would get
I'm
you.
a card-carrying manager in the NWA now, damn it. Just because I thought it into existence.
Yeah. I'm like Homicide. Hey, I got a manager's license. There we are.
Here's mine.
There's yours. Yeah, that'd be fun to come off of the bench, talking about 1, 2, 3 kid, just like, whoop, I'm the world junior heavyweight champion. I don't think it's kind of early for Kerry to lose that belt, but my thing out of this and Colby leaving, that's the saddest, is that we won't get to see what I have lovingly dreamt of as the Fortunate Son storyline. Right?
Yeah.
The children of NWA world champions. Just saying, we're the prodigies and sticking it to everybody. That would have been so much fun. But
yeah,
all the best if he is in fact gone to Colby Corino.
Yes.
And
well deserved.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
No problem.
Listen, before you were frozen, Jeremy, and as Poyo points out, the cold never bothered her anyway. You were telling us about how you're going to do results only, but something's happening with your YouTube page.
I am painting myself into a corner, and I am going to force myself to do a full review video of Championship Wrestling from Memphis and Hollywood over on my Wrestling with the MMA YouTube channel. It's something that I've been talking about for years now. And doing this, it's kind of emboldened me, and I'm looking to branch out that channel, and I want to see it grow. So that is my next step in evolution on that. I will be going back to giving you guys a more of a rundown of the matches next week, but this week where I'm just going to run through with the reviews and force myself into that corner for tomorrow. So and get that on.
YouTube.com/wrestling with the MMA.
That is correct.
I'll get a link. I'll put it in the chat, but you carry on.
Excellent. All right. We start off the show with Mackenzie Morgan of Team Wrestle Center. She has been attacked backstage by an unknown assailant with a chair, and at the beginning of the show was unconscious. So more to come on that later in the review about the Memphis Trios finale that was supposed to happen this week. The Hollywood Clique comes out. Dustin thinks that they had something to do with it. Blaylock is shocked by that. He says that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has contacted and begged him for Van Vicious to be in a movie with him. All of the Hollywood Clique has been featured on Young Rock. I haven't watched that, but now I have a reason to. Not a fan of The Rock. But first, Van Vicious is going to make an example of Kid Wrestling. We jump to the match with Kid Wrestling and Van Vicious. Van Vicious gets the pin after a curb stomp on Kid Wrestling. We go to a match with Martin and with Jennifer Justice against Ray Collins. Let's see here. Martin hits Collins with a Falcon Arrow, follows it up with a reverse suplex, plants him flat on his back in the middle of the ring for a 3 count. Austin Lane comes out, talks with Dustin Starr. Next week, we'll see the best of the best, the Wrestling Machine, Austin Lane, face Big Jack for his previous attack on Austin Lane that sent him out for a couple of weeks. We then go to a match between the Skimmerhorns and the Golden Savages, made up of Cassandra Golden and Geo Savage against Brad Skimmerhorn and Uncle Mikey. Let's see. I lost my place. Sorry.
That's okay.
After some back and forth, Uncle Mikey is able to hit Gator Feet on Geo Savage, but Brad Skimmerhorn makes a blind tag. He jumps over Uncle Mikey after going up to the top turnbuckle, and Geo catches him and gets a slam for the pin. After the match, the tension between Uncle Mikey and Brad escalates as they get nose to nose, and Brad shoves Mikey to the mat. We then go to the main event with the Memphis Internet title between Zay Washington and Tim Bosby. Bosby pulls out a shocker here and is the new Memphis Internet champion.
Huh.
Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. We start out with Levi Shapiro, who's accompanied to the ring with Howdy Price and Rob Schitt versus Dom Kubrick. This match ends in a disqualification as Lord Crew comes out and attacks Rob Schitt and then hits Levi Shapiro, causing the DQ. We go to a UWN championship match between the Voros twins and the Reno Scum. Reno Scum and Still. Made short work of those guys.
Yeah.
We get Judiz with Jack Farmer. Next week, we'll see Judiz finally get his hands on Jack Banning. Savannah Stone with a returning faces a returning Bryn Thorne. Savannah Stone is able to get the win with a brutal power bomb in the center. Another tag team match between 24K, Miggy Rose, and Michael Hopkins against the Agents of Chaos, Bryce Saturn, and Evan Daniels, accompanied to the ring by R3. The match ends with a DQ victory for 24K after R3 gets involved. We then go to a backstage segment with Johnny LaQuasto and Danny Limelight. Danny doesn't want to wait for the red carpet rumble, so we may see that championship match between him and Clearwater before then. LaQuasto's going to look into that. We then get the United Heritage Championship match between BHK, Kevin Martinson, and Zicky Dice, and new Heritage Champion, BHK, Kevin Martinson. Tune in Friday.
Yeah, that's just for that alone. We'll tune in Friday. I'm having trouble finding the YouTube page. Maybe you can put the link in the chat for me.
I will see what I can do. Yes.
Make sure it's part of the ticker tape thing there. That's awesome. Great. Wow, that's exciting. Zicky. Anyway, yeah. What else have we got? Is that it? Are we out? Are we done?
I do believe so.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jeremy. I think that's it. Dave's done his booking. I've yapped my face off. And that's the UWN. So I guess that's it. And guys, thank you all for joining us as you do every week. This is where we are. Where can they find you guys on social media, Dave?
You can find me at Dave Scooby, mainly on Twitter, a little on Instagram, possibly thinking TikTok, although I'm not really that much of a video person. Me being on here for an hour and a half to 2 hours is probably enough that you need to see of me. But hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Dave Scooby if you have any suggestions for fantasy booking, or if you just want to connect with somebody that likes wrestling.
And music. Music is your life.
Yes.
And Jeremy, how about you?
You can find me over on Twitter at HJWOTS, and I posted a link to my YouTube channel in the YouTube chat, I believe. And like I said, I will tweet out what time I will be dropping that video on Friday.
Fantastic. Really look forward to it. You two guys are like the twin consiglieres of the Alliance blog as well. Always, saying, hey, these are when the other shows are. This is when our show is. Amongst them, of course, are the original Alliance guys tomorrow night. We are the B team to J Cal, DKM, and Jaden, who will run down Power.
I'm going to have to dig out my B team shirt.
Yeah, you got a B team shirt?
I can make one.
There you go. And we should make it like out of tape or something, like a title.
Just like Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas did with a Sharpie on a white T-shirt. Just B-team it out.
Nice. What was the name of that? Ralphus Security.
I was a big fan of Ralphus.
Yeah, he's not with us anymore, I hear. That's a shame.
Yeah.
So they're on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Those three guys, they'll freeform a lot of their stuff for a couple hours and run through Power. It is a great listen. It's always fun. Actually, I believe, because DKM is taking the month of December off, that tomorrow the professor, Rick Del Santo of the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast,
Yay!
Yeah, Rick's great. He's going to be on that podcast. I owe Rick a spot from the three of us. Actually, we're trading video or audio shorts, just promoting podcasts with him. He's great, very knowledgeable guy. And of course, the flagship, the Hour Before Power, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. That Hour Before Power, the pre-party with J. Cal himself, who, as a reminder, Jay, later tonight, at 9:30, I believe, my time, Eastern time, there's an episode of The Sessions featuring Vinnie Berry and his second edition of Wrestleville 2, a fun book. And of course, we would talk about Danny Limelight.
Yep.
Today, I should get that banner off. An interview from yesterday with Danny Limelight. So,
and if you haven't watched, Jay is a fun interviewer. He really good time.
Yeah. He and Limelight are magic together, in their stuff in the past as well. Let me see, what else have we got? That's the three shows. That's it for us. Thank you, guys. There's all of our little hashtags in at the end. Thank you all very much. We are the Alliance, and it's all of us together. We can't do it. I guess we could, but we probably wouldn't if none of you guys were listening. And thanks to Pollo as well for always coming on the show, lending that inside voice from the locker room. We appreciate that, and we dig it. So thank you so much. So that's it for us, and until next time, we will see you at the match.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.